motion was made by myself to return to session and seconded by you.
By me, thank you.
Okay. With that, I believe, roll call.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Ms. Imbriano?
Yes.
Mr. Coral?
Yes.
Ms. Blakey?
Yes. With that, we are to the public input. I would like to remind everyone to address the board, please, and speak clearly into the microphone by either the stand or picking it up. With that,
Madam Supervisor, did you have a chance to go over those questions that I had? I sent you an email 2 weeks ago, and I asked you at the last meeting if you would have a chance to provide answers.
Deborah, I have my folder here, and no, I attempted to, but the budget has been consuming us as well as a few other things. If it's possible, I can email it to you, or I would be happy to have it ready for the next board meeting.
I won't be here at the next board meeting. I'll be in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Okay.
But I would appreciate if you could at least email me.
I certainly will do that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Gloria Hamilton. I don't know if I can bring this up now, but something I need to say, and it concerns the brush removal that we have for the town, the contract. Last year, I made contact with you because the leaves had come down, everybody bagged up their leaves, and the brush contract was over with, and the town came around and picked them up.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is happening this year. And I had mentioned to you that could an addendum be made to the contract to extend it out, further into November, because maple trees in central New York, they normally don't start dropping until the first part of November, which is what is happening right now. The leaves are coming down or have come down. People have bagged up all their leaves west of South Bay Road. They came last week. So you have a whole bunch of leaves in bags sitting on people's properties. Is the town going to pick them up?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Because that was not mentioned, to any of the residents that
How would we mention, if people have called.
last year, it was brought up to you. That could you let
It wasn't
us
brought up to
know?
me.
Yes, I talked to your AMI person that you have in charge there, your secretary.
Not last year, because I didn't take office till January.
I talked to the person, then it was Chet's person. But again, the bottom line is, could the contract be extended out until the end of November? Then you wouldn't be getting into a situation where you're using dollar amount of the town when we're paying a contractor.
Well, we're gonna pay somebody. If we extend it out, it was $30,000.
No, I don't mean extended out. The contract that you have can be modified.
Yes.
Because you have a contractor riding around in July, it really is not picking up anything. So it really isn't that much brush and debris being set by the curbside. If you could take the 4-week span that you have and reduce it down to 2 weeks, and then extend it out to the end of the contract.
We obviously are experiencing that immediately. We have an ongoing list. The phone rings. We probably have 35 people right now. It started ringing Monday.
Okay.
The list is being accumulated, and an agreement has been worked out with the highway department.
See, the way on your website, and this is what my neighbors, they went to your website and it said blah, blah, blah ends, and there was nothing mentioned that the town would be picking them up.
Well, because we're working on it right now, but anyone who is called has been told that we are accumulating a list,
Okay.
and we intend to accommodate to the best of our ability. As far as the contract with Altman, that has been discussed, and their contract will be coming up for bid in the spring.
Okay, so then at that point, if you're going to make sure that it's going to be extended out until the end of November in the future?
We are certainly addressing that,
Okay.
yes.
And I'd like some clarity on the problem with Chris Wozniak's family members.
There's no problem, they're off the list.
Okay, no, I would like to know, I would just like to know why this became such a big ordeal. You know, I sit home and then I hear this stuff and I'm going, what is going on with our town that we're spending 3 town board meetings on this issue? I mean, are you set?
It's discussion that needs to be done and policies that need to be put into place. Like you wanting to extend the contract for the brush people, other requests have come in for us to address their needs as well. So it's being addressed, and obviously if it's a policy that needs to be incorporated into the town, it will be.
Okay, all right, so but is there any information coming back to the residents of these things that are being
Well,
discussed?
certainly, and we'll come back as soon as, like, we talked about it tonight, and
Okay.
we're drafting a policy, and once it is incorporated, it will be
So
on
it's
the
going to be
town's
a
website.
seasonal, it's going to be a seasonal thing with
It has
people-
nothing, it's going to be addressed.
Okay.
It's not seasonal, it would be part-time and/or seasonal,
Okay,
but a draft is being created,
okay,
and we will be addressing it at our next town meeting.
okay, gotcha, all right. I was just curious
That's
because
fine.
the lead situation really is
Well, it's annoying to us because we get the phone calls, so we
Well-
appreciate that.
Well, it's not, I don't care who put it in place. I think that if you saw that the situation took place last year, that something, the phone call went in on that 699, was it 1414?
1 4 yeah.
It went in on that line. So there's got to be some type of tracking that should have taken place that we would be in the situation that we're in right now.
Well, because they're under contract, that's the situation that we're in, so we are addressing it
Well, you
in
can
the
always make an
town.
amendment to a
No, you
contract.
can't always,
Yes, you can.
whatever. We have addressed it with the town's gonna take care of the leaves.
And I thought that was very disrespectful to me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
I had a couple questions for you tonight, if I may, the town board. Recently, in fact, at the last meeting, I brought up the issue of traffic lane, fire lane issues at commercial property developments. Is there anything that's going forward through legal to change that, modify that code so that it reflects a $100 fine or something in that amount? Similar to what the chief was talking about when he brought up the fact that town of DeWitt and a few other towns have a $100 fine for the parking fire lanes.
But we're in the process of looking into that and preparing the resolution. We have to do all the law.
Right.
We're working on that.
Beside that, though, you may want to take a look at some of the other fines involved with parking violations, if they have to be updated, instead of just doing one, do a couple different ones if they need it.
Sure.
The other question I have, I've spoken to the supervisor recently, having discussed with a couple of retired engineers some of the traffic issues with the lighting system on East Circle Drive, specifically the driveway at Burdick's Driver Village. Are you going to have your engineers take a look at that also and perhaps decide to deregulate that traffic signal at some point?
I have a meeting with Roger Burdick first,
Good.
and then we will go forward with that.
I'm sure he'd be more than happy to not have to be responsible for maintaining that signal. And again, anybody that drives up and down through there, there's probably 90% of the people in the town that run into that catch-22 where the one light changes, then 5 seconds later it turns green and you come down and you get stuck at the traffic signal in South Bay. So at least if it was decommissioned and a stop sign, which is what most driveways are for any businesses, when the traffic's clear, those cars are coming in and out of there, they're not impeding the traffic flow on East Circle Drive and backing it all the way up to Hogan Drive at busy times.
Again,
Sure.
I've taken your recommendation and we're working on it.
Okay. And again, I'm glad to clarify another question tonight, that both, if I understand, both you, Supervisor, and Jessica are working in the codes office, then, right? Because wasn't that, I think everybody...
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't, but I think everybody here...
No job was offered, and no agreement.
Everybody here understood that, and I just want to clarify it. So, the reason I bring that up, obviously, with the drainage question that I had raised for the people on Palm Summit, you said you were probably going to have the drainage committee take a further look at that, and nothing had been decided at this point?
Yes, nothing has been decided at this point. I will be talking to the engineer, but I believe he's headed toward Florida, so I got to wait a couple of days. He had some other site visits and things to take care of, so I'll get him.
Well, I understand. I don't have a problem with the drainage committee looking at it, but it's not something for the town to have to actually act on as far as the drainage improvement.
Yeah.
It's a code enforcement issue. Yes, specifically.
I know, we talked about that, and we talked about it being the responsibility of the property owner. So I was going to get language, from the engineer and hopefully get him to write a letter to say, that this was an issue.
Well, for my benefit, the town board's benefit, and all the people that live in the town, if they'd like clarification on that, I'll read exactly what the town ordinance says. Article 2, Section 90-5. No person shall modify an existing topography of a land by cutting or filling in such a manner as to cause damage or to materially impair the use of quiet enjoyment of adjoining lands, or if it materially restricts the flow of natural or artificial drainage ways, which is what that is. And then, of course, there's remedies in the town code for making sure that gets rectified. And I'm sure that the people over at Cobblestone, once they realize that they have a problem there, they probably want to be in compliance, and it's not going to be that difficult for them to do so.
That was part of the problem. We're not sure it's only Cobblestone. It may be that property owner next door.
It
That
could be
map-
partially.
Yeah, that map, ended,
The
the
realty.
detail of the map ended,
Different realty.
at the rear
Yes.
of the Palm Summit properties.
But it's very flat back there, so regardless, even if it's part of Griffin, the drainage has to be taken care of in Cobblestone's property too.
Yeah, I'm not sure we established that there was a swale, so we just.
No, there is no sweat.
We need to do more research
Right.
on this topic.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I will follow. It won't be as fast as you want, but I will
Well,
follow.
I realize there'll be ice on it, so there won't be a water
Right.
problem
There
until
won't
the
be a
spring.
mosquito problem.
Until the spring. Okay.